Hello and welcome back to Boxing Social in association with Betfred. My name is Ayman Khan, and today I'm joined by one of the much touted American prospects who'll be featuring on the Spence UGAS undercard on April 16th. He is the one and only Darius Fulghum. So first of all, Darius, how's life treating you?
Everything's going good. Weather out here in Houston is beautiful. I had a good training session this morning, and I'm just happy to be on.
Darius, let's rewind before we look ahead. Obviously, I mentioned there in the introduction that you'll be fighting on the Spence UGAS undercard, but one of the more interesting things about you is, excuse me, you being over in America, and you were initially signed by Sam Jones and the S-Jam stable, and you've moved over to Probellum to, I assume, go alongside with Sam and kind of follow him in his journey as well. So can you tell us about what kind of happened there?
Well, yeah. I signed with S-Jam. Sam Jones is the guy that I was ready to talk to, and I've been talking to him for years before I ended up signing with S-Jam. And obviously still with S-Jam, but Sam has moved on with Probellum, and he is now a part of them. And that's who also I signed with. I'm honored to be a part with Probellum. They're a huge company that's starting up, and they got huge dreams that I really kind of align with. Kind of really had plans of fighting globally, which is something I really want to do. So I signed with, a manager from the UK. Being with Probellum, I have opportunities to fight in UK, opportunities to fight in Dubai. I have opportunities to be on big cards here in the States. So it was a really great decision.
Yeah, I mean, you when we last originally spoke to you, you were looking to make your pro debut and kind of get out there, and you did do that towards the back end of last year, towards the Christmas period. Let's talk about your debut. First of all, kind of some fighters, you might be a little bit different given your amateur pedigree and history, but some fighters have that pro debut nerves because they're making that transition. Did you have that coming into your first fight, Darius?
Actually, I didn't as much. I guess there was a lot of stuff, not during fight day, there was a lot of stuff to the build up of how I had things envisioned in my head and how I wanted things to go. And I felt like it may not have been going that way or whatever, but, after talking with my team and stuff, I got my mindset right and I was locked in mentally. I didn't really have any nerves going into the fight. The one thing I will say about it is going in there, I was more cautious than I would say normal. I felt like it was a whole new experience, so I took it as such, right? So when I was fighting for my first fight, I took my time. My idea was really just getting by my jab, establishing my range, my distance, and then if the knockout was to come, then to go get it, right? Which it did early in the first round. But I wanted to kind of just soak myself into the pro game. So that was what was on my mind going into my first fight, was really just kind of just taking my time and just trying to relax. But I would say I didn't have any nerves, no.
You talking there about being cautious, but I mean, it's a successful debut by all intents and purposes. You got that stoppage win too,
Right.
which some fighters, that doesn't come quick. That takes some time. Sometimes they might get it in their fourth or fifth fight. It might come in their first, like it did with you. Was that an active goal for you to kind of get that out of the way and make sure that wasn't like a thing to have to get 4 fights down the line?
Nah, like I said, I've never been a guy to chase knockouts. I'm a guy to chase wins, right? So I want to do anything I can to win. Now, obviously, I would much prefer to get somebody out of there early, right? I don't want to take any more damage than I have to. And so, like I said, the idea was really just being patient. And if it comes, it comes. More I've been in boxing, you realize like the knockouts happen when you're not looking for it. When you start looking for knockouts, they never come. Reason why is a lot of times you're loading up on shots that are a lot more telegraphed for people to see. So I was just trying to just go in there and just do my thing,
That was your first outing as a professional. Previous outings had been as amateurs. What were the biggest differences that you felt between the amateur game and the pro game?
One thing I will say, the gloves were completely different. Obviously in the amateurs, when I was fighting overseas, we didn't have any headgear at that point in time, so that wasn't anything that was new to me. But I will say the gloves are a lot different, right? Amateurs, I fought 12 ounces. Now we're fighting in 10 ounces. But the padding is like a lot different than like the amateur gloves, right? And so now I didn't really get hit my first fight, but I remember when I was in the back, getting warmed up and stuff. I'd always even when I spar and stuff, I always kind of tap myself to go ahead and kind of like get used to, taking shots, because it's more likely I'm gonna get hit. You know what I'm saying? So I want to go ahead and brace up for it rather than get shocked by impact when I get in the ring. So I go ahead and try to hit myself. And I remember when I hit myself with these gloves, man, I was like, yo, like these things are these things are small. Even when I first put them on, I was like, man, these are like really small. Like they're so compact. Same thing when I landed my shots, like they felt so devastating. I remember when I landed like my first jab, I was like, shoo, you know? And so that was like really the biggest difference for me in that moment was really just the gloves.
Reading articles about you in preparation for this interview, there's a number of interesting things to talk to you about. Rob kind of touched on that in the first interview you did with you on the channel, but the thing I want to talk about first of all is, I believe reading an article about you were looking to campaign out at light heavy. The first fight you had was at cruiserweight. Was there any reason for that, Darius?
And so the first fight was at 180 pounds was what it was set at. So when I was in the amateurs, I was fighting at 91 kilograms, which is 201 pounds. But I never really weighed that, I always basically fought up weight class. I was always walking around 188, 190 or whatever. And then so really for the first fight, I haven't really kind of cut weight in a long time, since I've been fighting at 201 pounds. So it was just a first fight to go ahead and get used to like getting back and how it feels of cutting weight, But this my next fight is at 175 pounds. I felt good. The weight cut, the weight cut I'm saying was really easy, So go down to 175 and then see how I feel.
Yeah, so you mentioned you're featuring on that Spence Ugas bill. Talk to me about getting the call for this fight, because it's a massive opportunity, a massive stage for you, being from the area yourself. But take me back to getting the call for the fight.
Dude, I was so excited, man. Like, because I kind of knew about it for a while, like about there's a potential opportunity about getting on this card, but it was never like anything else confirmed where I can announce it to everybody, And so when I finally was able to announce it, I knew I had an opponent locked in. Dude, I was so happy and so ready to tell everybody because, like I said, I'm from the area. Like it's not far from home for me. So to be able to get some of my people out, I wish I could have told them, a little bit more in advance, but regardless, it's still a huge venue, a huge opportunity. I'm from a small town, man. To be able to fight in my second pro fight on a huge card like this is just a blessing.
Yeah, you moved from your first fight being a 4-rounder to this one being a 6-rounder. I believe the fella that you're fighting, Noza Nekihari, has only lost the one time. So it seems like there's a plan to kind of move you on a bit quicker than a normal fighter coming through the pro ranks would do. So what do you know about your opponent? Is this a case of you kind of looking at your opponent, or you just doing what you do and adapting in the ring?
Now, I would say I've never been sad to say, I've never been much of a game plan guy, right? I always leave that up to my coach, right? But I always will look at, my opponents just to get like a general idea of their style, their frame, how they fight, right? But sometimes if I watch too much, I tend to overthink, right? And when I get in the ring, it'll slow my reaction speed down. It'll slow me down in general, right? I've always been a guy to really just do my thing. If I just focus on doing what I do best, I don't feel like I can lose.
You're fighting in Texas, which is your state. I mean, Spence is flying that Texas flag right now, but there's a lot of Texas talent towards the top of the game. You'll be someone, I imagine, who'll be wanting to get up there and fly that Texas flag for boxing and be in those big fights sooner rather than later.
Right. Absolutely. Like I'm been in Texas my entire life, born and raised. And one of my great states, so we have a lot of great talent here, and it's just about really kind of trying to showcase it on that higher level. So I want to be in the upper echelon of fighters.
Let's jump to that main event there, Spence versus Ugas. How do you see that fight going?
I'm a Spence fan. When I first started boxing, Spence was actually one of the first people I ever seen fight. But as far as skill wise, like Spence has proven that he is that guy. Coming out of his car wreck to taking a Danny Garcia fight and breezing through that fight, like what's interesting is it's going to be a southpaw matchup. So I'm kind of interested in how that's going to play out. But I do think Spence is just kind of overwhelming, kind of with his presence in the ring. And I think in the later rounds is when he'll start to chip away at guys.
I watched Darius. I mentioned there being a number of interesting things about you. I watched a video titled "Darius Fulghum Wrestling versus A&M" on YouTube. Now I don't know much. I don't know much about collegiate wrestling, Darius, but you've got that wrestling background. I think MMA you were looking at doing a while back, but you've left that for boxing. Is there potential still to kind of renew that and plunge into MMA down the line, Darius?
I hope you never watched that video. That was, oh my God, so long ago. You know, and that video. I wasn't good at the time either. You know, that was I think that was my junior year of high school, and going into senior year, I got really good at wrestling. You know, I went to state my junior senior year, and that's kind of my transition into boxing. Was originally like I was going to do MMA. You know, I had a wrestling background, so I feel like that was an easy transition. But when I started boxing, I like fell in love with it immediately, and I just knew in that moment I said, "Man, that's what I'm gonna do."
You again, when we last spoke to you, you had obviously the route to go to potentially Olympics and have that kind of route, as I mentioned, but you decided to turn pro. But you were looking forward to watching some of the amateur talents go to the Tokyo Olympics. We'll come out the back end of that, and they've done their thing now. But what was it like for you watching them, you know, gain medals when you could have kind of gone that route too?
I was extremely happy for them. I know like COVID kind of ruined my opportunity for the Olympics, and for me and several teammates, right? But I mean, I don't know what we can do about it. I was extremely happy to see my teammates go out there and do the thing and bring back some silver. You know, Keyshawn did his thing, Richard did his thing, Duke did his thing. Like they went out and performed, and I was happy to see it.
We've talked about obviously you linking up with a British promoter, but is there a plan to get you over here to the UK for some sparring soon? A lot of fighters love to come over and get that work, that experience. Are you coming over anytime soon?
I would love to. I'm not gonna lie. It's not in the plans as of right now. That is something I would absolutely love to. I would opportunity to come and get some great sparring because you can't just have a lot of great fighters even in the light heavyweight division. You know, you still got Boati and then you got Anthony Yard and you got what's the guy in the yard? I keep forgetting his name. They just fought. Twice. He got a really good jab. Yeah, Lyndon Arthur, really good. They got a pool of talent. Callum Smith, like you can keep naming a lot of fighters. There's another light heavyweight UK has this fighting soon. No, Craig.
Craig Richards is fighting Joshua Buatsi.
Yeah. They are fighting each other. Yeah. What are they fighting?
Good question. I'll have to have a quick look at the. I think it's next month in May.
Okay. Yeah. But like I said, they got the huge pool of talent in my weight, man. So I would love to come over there if I could. But it's not, like I said, it's not in the near plans though.
You're a young fighter. You're full of ambition. Again, talking about watching YouTube videos and things. I saw one of them. It was titled "You looking to eventually fight Canelo down the line." But that just kind of tells you your ambition, the kind of place that you want to be in the sport when everything's said and done.
All right, I want to leave a legacy, man. Like I that's something that's super important to me. It's really my mark. You know, I remember. I forgot when it was, but I was like laying in my bed one day and I was on social media or whatever, and I seen this post, and these people are doing like a Hall of Fame, like a fantasy draft for boxing, and they had like a list of fighters, and they were trying to do like their fantasy draft who they had picked, and I remember looking at this, I'm like, dude, I need to be on this list. Like it's a must that I need to be on this list. I want to be among all these great names, you know, to be remembered and leave my mark in this sport. And that's all I want to do.
Going down that thread then, Darius, you might say a similar sort of thing for the answer to this question, but for people who don't know you, and for me wanting to know a bit more about you, what is it exactly that you fight for? Why do you put on the gloves, especially when you've got the medical background? And I myself, I have a family of doctors basically, and my parents are in the NHS too, so I understand the medical field. Like you've got that, and that's a set path. So what is it, and why is it you fight in boxing, and what is it you fight for?
DFG, man, I'm destined for greatness, bro. Like there's something in me when I was younger, just knew I was going to be great at something. I want to be like like a legend and something, and I could never figure out what it was. Like I was a lost kid, and once I finally found my thing, this is something I like truly love. You're right. I do have my medical background. I have, not say an easy career. I was not an easy career, but I have a stable career where I'm not, ripping myself and taking any unnecessary brain damage. But this is something I extremely love and I'm extremely passionate about. A lot of stuff it's I guess selfish, man. Like I do this for myself. Like I really enjoy this. And they say if you do what you love, you never have to work a day again in your life. And it's just a dream that I can wake up, go to the gym, train, and keep chasing my dreams every single day. So that's my why. Like I want to be great. I'm destined to be great.
On that route to greatness, then what does your 2022 look like? You get through this fight coming up on April 16th on a Spence Ugas undercard. Then what's next for you if you had it your way?
I want to fight often. Like if I could, after this fight, if I could fight next month, I want to do that. It is important. Like it's all strategic, right? I want to try to get on big cards. If there's an opportunity to get on another card in Texas, I would love to do that. The opportunity to get on that card in June, I would love to do that. If I can fight over in the UK, I would love to do that. I want to just fight as often as possible. I don't want to take a long break because, like I said, this is what I do. Right after this fight, I'm back in the gym, training again, get ready for the next one. But I want to go ahead and try to get at least five fights this year, at least.
Final few questions from me, Darius. For those who haven't seen you and will be looking forward to seeing you on the undercard, what is it? What do you fight like? What's your style? How would you describe your fight style in the ring?
My fight style is different depending on who I'm fighting, So I have more of an adaptable style. Whatever I need to do in that moment is what I do. That's why I said I feel like I'm much more suited for the pros for that reason. I can box. I'm really good at controlling distance and using my jab. Or if I need to apply pressure, I can do that as well. So it just depends on what needs to come out of me in that particular moment.
And then finally for me, actually final two questions for me. What can people expect to see from you when you get in the ring in your second pro fight?
It's going to be explosive. Like expect to be explosive and put on a clean boxing performance.
And my final question is, Darius, for those who want to watch your journey, second fight coming up now, for those who want to follow you on Instagram and check you out and be part of the DFG journey, where can they find you on social media?
My main social media that I use is my Instagram. It's Darius Fulghum, just my name, Darius Fulghum.
Darius, I see you there. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. I'm looking forward to catching up with you soon already. Yeah. Let's catch up after your fight, and I wish you all the best for April 16th.
That sounds good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.